Look at a modern World Cup match with packed stadiums and billions of viewers. But this competition actually began in 1930 with just 13 teams. Today, we're going to build the ultimate World Cup expansion timeline, step by step. Here is the chart we are building today. This is what our final map will look like, tracking the growth of the tournament from its origins in 1928 all the way to the 48-team roster planned for 2026. To build along with me, go ahead and open a digital workspace like Canva, or just grab a blank piece of paper and a ruler. Step 1 is our foundation. Draw a long horizontal line. Mark the start at 1920 and the end at 2030. Make sure you leave plenty of empty space on the right half for the years after 1980. By mapping these dates and numbers physically, we can see how the tournament grew from a small tournament in Uruguay to the most watched sporting event on the planet. Start by placing your first node at 1928. Label this point FIFA President Jules Rimet approves tournament. Next, move slightly to the right and place a star at 1930. Label this one with the very first host and champion, Uruguay. If we look at an official ticket from that exact event, we can verify that 1930 starting point in Montevideo. Beside your 1930 node, draw a large number 13. That 13 represents the total number of competing teams. At the time, the long boat journey across the Atlantic forced many European nations to decline the invitation. Despite those travel constraints, the tournament's success in Uruguay proved that football could support its own global championship outside of the Olympic Games. Now, draw a red dashed line across the years 1942 and 1946 and label it WW2 cancellation. The competition was suspended for over a decade during the war. Draw a solid line to resume your timeline at 1950. A short distance from there, place a massive node at 1958 and write the label Pelé emerges. At that 1958 tournament, a 17-year-old Pelé led Brazil to the first of their 5 titles. Let's pause and check your work. Your timeline should currently show a distinct gap throughout the 1940s, immediately followed by the start of Brazil's dominance in the late 50s. The tournament survived a global conflict and returned to produce legends, which helped establish its long-term prestige. Moving further right along the line, drop a node at 1986. Label this one Maradona's masterpiece, Argentina wins. Right above that 1980 section, draw a small icon of a television set. That icon marks a shift in how fans accessed the game. Television broadcasting turned the competition into a media event, watched by billions of people across the world. Above that TV icon, draw a bracket and label it Tournament Expansion. This chart shows how the tournament structure changed to accommodate growth. Map the first major jump from the original 13 teams up to 24 teams. Then, complete your expansion bracket by drawing an arrow to the next tier, locked in at 32 teams. As the global audience grew, FIFA expanded the bracket, allowing more nations the chance to compete for the trophy. Move near the end of your timeline now and draw a trophy icon at the year 2022. Label this node Lionel Messi's ultimate prize, marking Argentina's victory over France. This final 2022 match served as the conclusion to the 32-team era that had been in place for decades. Finally, move to the very end of your line. Plot the year 2026, and below it list the 3 hosting nations, the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Next to that 2026 node, draw a large bold number 48. This move to 48 teams will be the largest structural change in the tournament's history. By nearly quadrupling the number of teams from the original 1930 field, the 2026 format scales the competition to involve more nations simultaneously than ever before. We are done drawing. Put down your marker or close your digital tab and take a look at the document you just created. You now have a complete visual record tracking the journey from a small 13-team event to the upcoming 48-team expansion. Your map shows the survival of the tournament through World War II, the rise of players like Pelé, the unforgettable performance of Maradona, and the ultimate victory of Messi. Go ahead and export your file or save your paper timeline. You can use this as a study guide or a reference for future tournaments. This timeline tracks how a single competition grew from 13 teams in one country to 48 nations playing across an entire continent. It's a record of how the World Cup became a global phenomenon.